Hey guys, today I thought I would share with you some of the things that I wore while I was at Grand Teton National Park and Yellowstone National Park. So we actually went from August the 5th through August the 13th, and I was not sure what to really pack. And so I actually did a pack with me video for you guys too. I can link it down below. You should have seen it first. But I wasn't really sure how to pack because when I looked at the weather forecast, it showed like a cold front coming in. So like the week before we were there, the highs were in the 80s and the lows were in the 50s. But then the week we were supposed to be there, the highs were not supposed to get any higher than like 72 and the lows were down to 38. So there was a big range of temperature, so I wasn't really sure how to pack. So I just packed layers. So I thought I would kind of just show you some of the outfits that I put together, some of the layering pieces. You can see the whole complete outfits. I'll have some photos on the side to show you the complete outfit and kind of tell you a little bit about the weather and things. In case you're somebody like me and this will be your first time visiting Yellowstone, to kind of know how to pack and what kind of outfits that you need. So this was the basically first week in August, but of course there was a rare cold front that came through because the day that we were leaving, the temperature started to rise again. So I'm hoping this will be helpful to you guys if you're planning a trip to Yellowstone or to Grand Teton. So we flew into Salt Lake City and rented an RV while we were there, and the temperature from Salt Lake City to Yellowstone was just so drastic. It was like in the upper 90s when we landed in Salt Lake City, and then by the time we drove up toward Grand Teton, it had dramatically changed and went to like the 50s. So for travel day, I forgot to take some pictures to put on the video for you guys for travel day. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start with day one. So day one was actually in Grand Teton, and the highs that day were like low 70s, and the lows that day were, I think the lowest it got during that day up through the night was, I think 35 for that day. The weather was crazy. It would rain one minute and then in a different part of the park, it would be sun shining. So it was such a radical change from one part to the other. So I started with like a basic black tee to just have as a short sleeve if I did need to shed a layering piece if it did get hot during the day. And for the layering piece over top of that, if it did get a little bit cooler, I had a quarter zip, like a polar fleece quarter zip, and I used that most of the day. It was pretty cool most of the day. There was only like one area that midday I only had the t-shirt on, but most of the day I was wearing the quarter zip over top of it. And then I have some kind of like hiking pants on the bottom. They're a nice thin material, but they're really good for if you're doing those hikes or anything like that. And then I finished the look off with some Skechers because they were nice and comfortable. So that was my outfit for day one. Just a black tee to layer under a quarter zip fleece, and I did wear the fleece most of the day, and then those hiking pants, and I just thought that was really comfortable for any of your hikes that you did, plus that weather change, it was really good for that. Day two was still in Grand Teton, and the weather was just so crazy. It was really rainy, really foggy, and just that wide range of temperatures throughout the day. I think it got as high as 71 that day, and then the lows during the night were between 30 and 40 degrees. So what I wore that day was just a tunic top, long enough I could wear some leggings, and the leggings that I wore were a fleece line leggings. So they were really nice and warm because that was one of the cooler days. And the top was a little cow neck. It was more of an athletic style because it did have thumb holes in it as well. It was not very heavy or thick or anything like that, but I didn't actually need to layer over top of that. I did have like a tunic style black jacket that I was going to layer over top of that if I needed to, and I actually didn't need to. So it was kind of a moderately mild day, nothing too bad that I needed to layer over top of that. And then the leggings, like I said, were fleece lined, so they were really nice and warm. And again, I finished that look off with some Skechers because that's my go-to when I'm hiking or anything like that, because they're so nice and comfortable. So now we're on to day three, and that's when we started from Grand Teton heading to the south entrance of Yellowstone. And that day was a little bit warmer. I think the highs that day were 76 and the lows that day were between 50 and 55. So I kind of just wore, I call it a fisherman's shirt, but it's one of those thin cooling shirts. I picked it up off Amazon, and any of these outfit pieces that are still available, I will link in the description box for you guys if you're kind of searching for something to take with you to Yellowstone and you might not have it in your closet already. I'll link anything that I can in the description box for you guys in case you want to check it out and see a little bit more information or buy from this video. So I really like that aqua color that it was in. I know that doesn't really matter when you're talking about what you should be really wearing, but I really like that with the khaki bottoms that I had. So the bottoms are from North Face, and they are like I can't remember the actual name of that style pant, but it has a cinch at the bottom of it, and it's more of a capri to a crop length, not a real long length on that. And I just liked how comfortable those are. They're a thinner material, just like the top is. So I was really glad I wore what I did that day because we did a lot of hiking. So between starting off a little bit cooler until the end of the hike where you were sweating and it was really hot, that was really nice because it is kind of like that cooling top, but still keeps you warm, and the same thing with the bottoms as well. And of course, I finished the look off with Skechers because Skechers is what I wore this entire trip, just because they're always comfortable to hike in for me. So while we were in Yellowstone, we did stay in West Yellowstone, so we mostly used the west entrance. And I'm telling you this because I felt like there was a little bit of a difference between the temperature from the south entrance to the north entrance. So we did do all the quadrants. We went the entire figure eight loop of Yellowstone over a 4-day period. And I felt like the south entrance, the day that we went, was kind of at the front of that cold front. So it was a little bit cool, but then once we would get to the north end, the breeze and everything was just so cool. I really can't stress enough how you kind of need to layer. I thought in August, the very beginning of August at Yellowstone, that I would need shorts and things like that, but I would have probably been really cool most of the days, even doing hikes in shorts. But I did see people in shorts. So you can wear shorts and short sleeve shirts, but I found that it was best for me to layer because I was always putting an additional layer on and shedding it because there was such a fluctuation of temperatures throughout the day. So on day 4, we're still in Yellowstone doing lots of hikes. The highs were upper 60s, the lows were in the 40s. So that day I had a short sleeve purple tunic on, long enough that I could wear it with some leggings, and then I had they're the Zilla joggers, so they're almost like a legging, but they're also have that little band at the bottom, kind of makes them like a jogger. They're not fleece lined, so they were like your medium weight material on the bottom. And then of course I had a belt bag that I used the entire time because it was just great to put my phone in there to take the pictures, and then I had my son's inhaler in there, so it was really great to have that belt bag. Just a really classic belt bag to carry with me through all the hikes and things like that. So I actually had the same black tunic style jacket that I was speaking of on a previous day that I had to layer if I needed to. I think that was the day that we were mainly in the canyon area, the Grand Canyon of the Yellowstone area, and it seemed like the temperatures were pretty warm that day. I would always have that layering piece sitting in the van for when we do the walks or whatever if I needed it. So then we're on to day 5, still in Yellowstone. And what we did was we kind of broke it up into quadrants. So we always entered on the west end, except for that first day coming up from Grand Teton, we entered into the south entrance. So there were several days that we tried to get to the Grand Prismatic, just so crowded that we just decided that we would go another day. So this was the prettiest day. Day 5 was the nicest day. It pretty much stayed in the 60s and 50s most of the day. It did get a little bit cooler at night, but we weren't out and about, so I didn't need to worry about that as far as layering or anything like that. So this day I wore a tee, and then I had some cargo pants, some really nice utility style pants that were probably a medium weight material. Of course, my Skechers. And then I did actually have like a fleece Columbia jacket, just a zip up jacket, just in case I needed that layering piece. And I actually didn't need it. I didn't wear it at all that day. So it was really nice with just the t-shirt and the cargo pants that day. I did not need a layering piece at all. Beautiful day. That was probably the prettiest day that we had there. No rain inside. It almost rained every day while we were there at some point in time. But then if you would go to another part of the park, it would be cleared up by then. But this was the prettiest day, really nice. You could wear that t-shirt. You could probably even get away that day with wearing shorts if you wanted to. I didn't, just because I was a little bit cool when we actually left the campground to head towards Yellowstone. So now we're gonna go on to day 6, which is kind of the last day. We were kind of heading down towards Salt Lake City to bring the RV back that day. So not a lot of things in the park. We did go back to Grand Prismatic because I wanted to make sure we got to do that. And so we did that, and that's the only thing we really did in the park. But it was a really nice day. Again, probably fluctuated between 50 up to 70. I didn't get in the upper 70s at any time while we were there. Lower 70s was as high as it got there, and I think it got as low as 38 the entire time that we were there. The day that we were leaving, I checked the weather, and it was actually like 15 degrees higher on the highs and lows that day. So we were right there in that cold front. So this might be not typical for what you need for the first week of August there, but that's what we needed. And I thought since I'd experienced it, that I would help you out because I know how difficult it was for me to try to figure out how to pack for Yellowstone. So on day 6, I was only in a tee and joggers. So really comfortable that day. I didn't need a layering piece at all. And of course I was in my Skechers. I did not need any kind of layering pieces this day. This was probably one of the higher range temperature days as well. Okay guys, I hope that this was helpful to you guys to help you prepare on what to pack and wear while you're in Yellowstone and Grand Teton during the August month. Like I said, I think there was a cold front, so it might be a little bit different than what it usually is, but I did look ahead to see what the temperature was going to be, and it was going to range anywhere from between 38 and 72 during the time that we were going to be there. So I knew that there was a big fluctuation of temperature from morning to midday, so I wanted to make sure I had the layering pieces. So I wanted to kind of just show you how the looks came together in case you needed a little bit more information about that. I hope this video has been helpful. If it has been, and if you enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up. Also, I would love to have you consider hitting that subscribe button. I do weekly videos on fashion, beauty, and lifestyle. I also have travel videos as well. So I would love to have you consider hitting that subscribe button. I hope to see you in my next video. And until then, I hope you have a wonderful day.